Muy buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well and, as always, enjoying family. Again, gracias, Tony, for allowing me to get on your platform. Stories written by a current prisoner to share my stories. Okay, well, now for this story, I'm gonna try to continue off on where I left off, kind of. I do apologize if I jump time lapses. It's just, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear the little things that happen in between each story. So I hope I am going too fast and I am making sense of my story. Gracias. Well, after the little incident with Stormy, we just basically went back and sat down in Sinaloa for a while. So we stayed out there, and during this time there was a lot of things that happened, and one of them was that there was a big target that needed to be touched back in Nayarit. So we were basically setting up a crew to go. Now in this crew, it was gonna be me, Tweety, the Senore, excuse me, Mono, Richie, and O. It was gonna be five of us that were gonna go. So anyways, the day came and we ended up pulling out to go take care of it. And at this time it was for some reason we got comfortable. It's just something that even in the States, it's just something you're not to do. Get comfortable and start trusting that you were able to pull things off without having to measure all the negative things that could happen. For example, I remember that we got given a car, and us, well, you know, I won't talk about myself. Me being dummy, I know that, I need to ask always everything. But in this case, I didn't. I took it as it came without questioning anything. I took it as, I trusted the people that gave it to us. So, anyways, we ended up driving in. This was, I don't know, maybe about 10, 12, in between 12 and 10 hours, from where we were at. So the thing is, we ended up driving in. We go in, we get a quick moment where to stay. And within that time, we ended up saying, hey, let's go look around, or at least get to know, where we're at and where there's exits, and, just measure the surroundings to know the avenues that we needed to take in case things got hectic. So while we're doing this, for some reason, judiciales came up and they stopped us. When they stopped us, basically, at first it was them telling us, you fools ain't gonna get arrested, te pusieron, they put you, meaning that somebody had dropped a dime on them. Cause you gotta remember, that here they jump chips a lot, Sometimes it's just some worth trusting people, they start feeling uncomfortable, so they ended up jumping charcos, And I don't know how it happened, but at the end of the day, someone gave the car color, our objective, and everything. So as you guys know, they took us into the separos, and man, they went to town. I'm talking about at this moment there was a police in the state where they were known for torturing, and it was something out of the books, or so I thought, but they had us there for a couple days, and they wanted us basically to admit that we were working, for Sinaloa. And needless to say, none of us, basically, we always kept to, we don't know what you're talking about. We're visiting and we're just getting to know the place. And then from there, nobody spoke beyond that. So once they couldn't have us to talk, they just told us, ya los cargó la chingada. And they ended up taking us to the penal in the state. Now, unknown to me, I'm gonna say this, is that in this penal at this time, the Beltran Leyvas, they were really strong. I'm talking about really strong. Inside was an immediate sister of theirs and an uncle, Blas Leyva. Not to mention, all their sicarios, they had them in there taking care of them. Because at this time, Hector had the plaza for the whole state. So when we're going in there, it was weird because we're already all lumped up, And the reason they threw us in the penal was they were saying we had placas sobrepuestas, which was we had a stolen car and we had plates that didn't belong to the car. And that's a really big offense, here in Mexico. So once we got in, it was, the COs, you could say, custodios, they took us in, and after that they turned us into them, to the Beltranes. And man, it was something terrible, like literally I really thought they were gonna kill us, to be sincere. If it wasn't for us seeing that they actually booked us in the system, I would have really thought they were gonna murk us, But let me just paint this out for you a little bit, how the pen is how the pen is basically, you go up to Barandilla, which Barandilla is like R&R. Then you go down like a dungeon. Then you go up the stairs, and you get out to what is considered a patio, which is the prison. When everybody's out, basically outside the patio, you have what they call rojos and verdes. What these guys do basically, when a visit gets here, they ask who it is, where they live, and they go look for your visit. Cause you gotta remember, in these prisons, you don't ever see COs, you never see police, and they basically run everything. So when they took us in, I mean, right there, right coming off the barandilla into the patio, they went to town, and I'm talking about there was gatilleros in there, with R15s and AKs, and they wanted us to confess that, we were there on a mission working for Sinaloa, which someone had already told him we were, But since we weren't, they basically, how this prison works is like, you go to the right, and then there's the handballs. Right next to the handballs, there's a rocola, they call it, which is kind of like a botanero, like a bar, they have alcohol and music and everything. And then next to it, they have a hotel, and next to the hotel they have Sección B, which is, that's another side, of the prison. For those that work for Sinaloa, they usually throw them back there, It's basically kind of like a protected custody, you could say. But the military wasn't bringing us. This was the judiciales, which they're working hand in hand. Anyways, next to it, there's a place they call Siete Locos, which is exactly what it is, like in every other pinta that they had beating us down. You go down this dungeon, and down there is all the 5150, the people that have something wrong with them, that are taking medications. So they basically took us down there, and every day. We got it for every meal. They had us tied up down there, and they were stomping us in. Like literally, they wanted a confession, and there was at times that they had all 12 rojos, all 12 verdes go in there and take turns, each one of them beating us down. They wanted us to really to admit, but we already knew, that here it wasn't like you're gonna admit and it's gonna be done. Nah, you're gonna admit and you're done. Period. So if it wasn't because you were man enough to keep your mouth shut, you were keeping it shut if you wanted to stay alive. That was well understood. We knew what we were getting into, and we knew exactly if we got caught by them. To be sincere, it wasn't nothing on what we had talked about if we got caught. So while we were down there, all I could remember is like, when they were stopping you in, they would ask you, you're a sureño from California, you work for Sinaloa. It made it, like pinche cholillo and things like that. And they were stomping us in, so we couldn't admit nothing, as we were supposed to. And well, without making this story very long, it came to a point where, I really thought we were gonna be done. We were eating here and there, like, to be sincere, from the butt whoopings, I didn't even notice when we were eating. I was mainly concentrating on water, to be sincere. All I wanted, I remember I got really thirsty, and there was at times that rojos and verdes, they feel sorry for us, you could say that, because they would literally, while they were in there doing other things, they were actually, tell you things in your ear and look out, and this is where I say, in past stories, there's a lot of people that come on here and speak about, I'm a hardcore sureño, and you're this and you're that, and when they don't even know the facts behind each individual, because I guarantee you that for somebody to go through something that we went through in this time, they would have folded, man, to be sincere, I'm not gonna tell you that I did it out of machismo, because I'm all this and that. Nah, hell no. I'm gonna be sincere with you. I actually think that, I held tight because of due to all the butt whoopings, man. Believe me, the only thing you wanted was for it to stop, At times I remember I thought like, man, just admit it and let them dome you and get this over with, But it was that fear factor, where if I admit it, that's my butt, and then at moments you go through this up and down emotions, that you're at moments you want to quit, you want to do this, but you can't, and the fear factor comes in, the pride comes in, we're like, hell no, they ain't gonna break me, and I don't know if any one of you been in a situation like that. It's just an emotional ride you go in, and but it is why, I see a lot of people in the comments talk down on somebody when they didn't even know their story, Like I stated before, I am with none of that snitching, getting on the stand, none of that, But, without knowing facts as we're thought to, don't speak about another man, And thus facts, because I guarantee you, from all the butt whoopings that I received since I hit Mexico, dude, this was one of them that I could sincerely tell you that I swear on my life that I never thought I was gonna go through a butt whooping like this, And second of all, I really didn't think my body was capable of surviving something like this. It was something really, really terrible, But anyways, this went on for a whole month. It wasn't a couple days, a week. We were down there in the dark for a whole month. The only time we heard people they had us in separate room, Each one of us was in a separate room. So all day we were in the dark, handcuffed like pescado, and they left it there. The only time we seen people was to either drink some water, eat something, or get everything stomped in on us. But, I can sincerely say that the Pilis and the other camarada, they all held quiet, Nobody spoke. Well, at first, we lasted a month. And at first, when we got kicked out, we knew we were being watched, because they were being really strict with Sureños. Straight up, there was 40 Sureños on that yard, and they didn't want us grouping up in more than two. And they eventually kicked me out, Tweety from Ontario, the Señor Richie from El Monte Flores, and O from El Centro. They kicked us out to Población. And they took Mono though from Ontario. They ended up taking him and they took him in the back, in the Sección B7 they call it. And they took him back there, so we weren't able to conversate with him or see him. We didn't know if he had spoke. We didn't really know what it was, so you can imagine when we went back out to the yard, it was like we didn't know if they were letting time pass by or something, and they were gonna come back for us. They were getting all the 411 from the Pili. I know it's probably dirty of us to think negative of this, but you guys already know, that for once we know that a lot of señores that when they're put in that situation, they've been, as camaradas, and we just didn't understand how all four of us came to Población and he got put in B7, and anyways, the only time that we really had time to conversate was, at 6 in the morning when they opened up. We were able to come to the soccer field and walk laps back and forth, and we were actually able to walk with another camarada and just stroll back and forth. So we didn't know, what was going to happen. We were still like trying to maintain, and do our program and just mind our business really. And, for the next 2-3 months we were in there, it was, it was bad. We were basically being treated like, you're a sureñito, and a ver, bájenlo para abajo, and we'll get stomped out here and there. When a lot of things changed up is, there's a really famous case that happened in Nayarit a while back, about a killing in a rancho, I believe it's called Ruiz. And basically they killed like, I'm not remember if it's 25 or 28 from Sinaloa, And the guy that killed him was a camarada. He was from East LA, but he was really in the mix with the Beltranes. He was actually one of their main dudes. They actually caught him in a ranch. I don't know. I'm not sure which ranch it was, but him, Pablo, and his brother, they caught him out in a ranch because they were putting bodies in cans of acid. Getting rid of the bodies. That's why he was originally arrested. So when he got there, though, he could have been like, what if you guys, but nah, he even though he was from the Beltranes, to be sincere, we played the fizz with him too. We fooled him, because he basically put us in a cell and he told her like, look, I'm this and that, but I'm here doing this and that. I know you guys camaradas, but I need you guys to tell me straight up, do you work for? And we told him we didn't, when in fact we were on a mission for this place, But needless to say, he had a lot of pull, so he ended up little by little started letting us group up and do our thing as camaradas and just maintaining our own. He even gave us a wood shop in the back where we ate, we conversated and did our thing, And But here's the kicker, I forgot how many bodies they found. He had tubs of acid with bodies, him and his brother. But it was way over 20 something. And he was only busted for a month. Just, I mean, really, really analyze that situation. I know there's been a lot of questions how the Pili Evil was in and out for murder and this. But this camarada specifically that I'm speaking about, he was in there for throwing people in acid, over 20 something people, him and his brother, and he was out in a month. After this month, they caught him again in this ranch I mentioned, killing over 25 people from the Sinaloa cartel. This is just so you guys get a little picture how Mexico works. But sorry to, you know, from getting off, getting distracted and off of the story. But anyway, he hooked us up, while he was there. To be sincere, I got nothing negative to talk about him. Besides, he got to Mexico, he made his decision, but nunca bajó bandera. He could have just done his own thing. He didn't even have to tell us he was a camarada from East LA. You know, the Pilis never once mentioned they were señores, and we kept it as we were all sureños. Like I stated though, he was cool. He asked me to do a couple sleeves on him, short sleeves on him, cause that's something that I always done. I love art, so I did, and the problem uprise again once they had let him go. Basically they were still allowing us to get together and do our own thing, but I remember one time me and the homie from IE, Little Man, we were in there and we were conversating, not in English, but in Spanglish. And this vato from those Beltranes, they call him La Puerca. He basically came over and he said we couldn't speak English, that he ever seen us again, that he was gonna basically, have his goon squads stomp us down. And to be sincere at this point, it's true what they say, that, hits and cuts or whatever, or any type of painful event you go through only hurts for a little bit, cause the mind seems to block it out. Cause I remember the moment he said that again, it was that damn orgullo again, for me and Little Man, and I told him straight up, you ain't gonna touch nobody, and I told him, like, hey, you know what, we do our own thing, we mind our own business, but if you fools se quieren salir del calzón otra vez, then you know what, us sureños, we're meant for war, so we'll meet you in the soccer field and go ahead and come with it. And till this day, I don't know why they didn't man up, They basically, I remember Blas, Blas Leiva, he ended up calling me, Tweety, and Sapo to his little, he had a mariscos restaurant over there, it was called El Capitan, and he ended up calling us in there, and he basically told us, like, look, Cholo, I understand you guys mind your business, but this is my worker. And I told him, look, I respect everything you guys doing. We don't do drugs in here. And if there's camaradas that do drugs, they come to you. We mind our business. That's it. We stated it over and over, we're not here against you guys. And he basically said, just keep doing your thing. Just don't listen to nobody. Just do you guys. Just don't get in between our affairs, so we're going to have pedos. So we left it at that, we said it was cool, and we kept pushing, we basically went back there to the wood shop. We had a little spreads as camaradas, and we kept doing our time. But, it was, anyways, the Pilis, they have that power hunger mentality, you know, that even though they see that we're in a losing situation, to be sincere, you know, because for one, yeah, they're in this penal, but you know, they have the whole plaza outside of this penal. They could walk in and out of this place, you know, and which I understand. I'm contradicting myself because what just happened with the puerca, like I stated, I don't know why they didn't move forward with it, but they didn't, you know. But basically, where we were hanging out, then you know, Richie and even the camarada uh, Tweety, you know, and from El Centro, they were always in everybody's ears, you know, like, hey, we got to take this who's out. We got to stand here for a mission, and you know, and I remember I told the Pili O from El Centro, you know, may him rest his peace. I heard just recently he got killed out there, you know, and but we were able to conversate real cool, you know. He didn't really act like a Pili. He was more on a camarada level, but when it came to be greedy and then he wanted dope, I basically told him like, hey, you know, kick it, man. When we got here and we got caught, we lost. Leave it alone. Let's get out, restructure, and then hit again. You know, there ain't nothing we could do here but keep getting our butt whoops, which he understood to a sense, you know. But they were already conversating with or talking about we're going to hit all strategic points, you know. Like for example, there was that one back there in Talacha. There was restaurants, and basically we're gonna spread out in twos and just hit all the main points. You know, because they had a lot of fools from the cartel working in there. You know, they used to patrol in twos. You know, Talibanes and those taking care of them. To be sincere, and but anyways, you know, I think what ended up stopping it that Richie called whoever he called on the streets, and I believe, and I'm not mistaken, it was the old man from Ontario, and basically he told him like, hey, keep your nose clean, stay on the low, don't use. We're working on getting you guys out. You know, at least the 5 that went in for that. So, you know, that's basically what made him hit the brakes. You know, they were using and everything, but you know, they were being smart and going over there buying from them, and you know, and in this pinta there was no carga, so you know, they became big old tecatos. I mean, tweakers, perdón. They were tweaking it. Got you. I'm talking about sometimes they stayed inside their hallway for I don't know, a couple weeks at a time. You know, until they had someone called in to buy more. They got bad. You know, but you know, let me just tell you guys a little bit how this prison was, so you guys can get an idea on how it was. You know, like I stated, you went in. And to the right is the handball course, the rocola. In this rocola, you know, you had girls, you had alcohol, anywhere from red label to beer, whatever. Then you had the hotel that charged 25 pesos for an hour. Then, like I stated, then you have this, it was like PC, you could say that, you know, protected custody. And then you had a hallway that went to the back. Then you had the laundry area. Then after that, it was a hallway of nothing but like shops, you know, restaurants, gyms, where they sell helados. It's a trip, you know. I'm talking about there was parts where they sell cintos, huaraches, zarapes, cazuelas. It was just like it was like a big old rancho, you know, poblacion. That's what they call it. And in the front, it went around, and you had, you know, you had birria places, you had mariscos, you had a place called Bandidos that held fajitas, all types of stuff, you know. It was nothing like a prison, you know. You got out at 6 in the morning, and you went in for count at 7, and they reopened back up, you know. and basically you had to have money, you had to buy your bed, or you would sleep in the hallway outside. But this would be my life for the next, I believe it was 11 months. Because after Richie talked to the senora, I remember I was sitting down talking to Owen, and he was mad, that it was taking so long, but they were trying to take us out. The way Mexico works is you basically have to wait to get sentenced. Once you're sentenced in Mexico, if you have a good lawyer, he could rush the sentencing. Once you're sentenced, then they tell you, okay, like at this time I'm speaking about, since me personally, I had what they call, what is this called? Antigüedades penales, right? Because I've been busted before in the state. Is basically you don't get a fine, you don't get a bail. So I had to get bail sentenced, and we got sentenced, with no lie to you guys, for 18 years, 8 months for placas sobrepuestas. And I think they paid about 90,000 pesos for each one of us, and we didn't walk out the front door. They opened up the back door, and the whole file, whatever you want to call it, they split the money and they ripped it up like we were never busted. But again, a lot of little things happen within the time I was here. I just don't want to go from one thing to the next. I just wanted to come on here, extend my saludos y respetos to everyone, and just share this little story with you guys. And on my next one, there was a couple little, you could say, tragedies that happened amongst camaradas and stuff while we were here, but I will get into that. Muchísimas gracias to everyone for you guys' time, for your prayers as always. Please, always stay true to yourself, value family. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches.